My dad has years of wisdom, and he's been married for over 25 years, right? Oh, 30? For my dad, I don't even
More than 30.
My dad has been married for over 30 years, so one of my idols, and he's one of my best friends. So at any point that you find value, let us know in the comments. If this is your first video of mine, I encourage you guys to subscribe and turn on the post notifications. My dad is now, after having 5 kids, married for 30 years, been working with the same company since he was 18 years old. A lot of good stuff, a lot of golden nuggets. So again, any value, go ahead, let us know in the comments. But
and then I get to ask you a bunch of my questions, right?
You have any?
No.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Maybe along the way.
How would people who knew you in high school describe you?
I was a little bit of a geek.
You finished
Bookworms.
top.
I finished top 10, actually graduated 8th in my class.
When you were younger, did you find it hard to like open up to people or like be vulnerable?
Yeah, I was shy. Yeah, I was introvert, shy. When you're one of 11 kids and kind of birth order, I was 8th, the 8th amongst 11 kids, so 8 in the food chain, if you will. Generally, by the time we were growing up, they were already married and moved out of the house. And
flip that now. I know this is still early life. Who do you turn to advice now as an adult?
Your mom, my wife.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about, just what we're going through and sounding boards to each other. Sometimes people at work, sometimes some of my friends, just kind of, but I would say mom.
Let's now talk into the early love. So basic, how did you meet mom?
Walking home from school, we kind of lived near each other. She was about a quarter mile from where I lived, and you would come to her house first on the way home from school. So I found some worms in the road or on the sidewalk, and I would throw them at her to tease her, to make her run. And that was my indication that I like you, by throwing worms at her.
Scaring her away.
Scaring her away to kind of draw her back to the smell of worms, yeah. So 3rd, 5th grade, and then she went to a separate middle school or junior high, and then we graduated. We went to the same high school together, and we graduated, together.
Wow.
And then subsequently, it was not until we met at a mutual friend we both knew, Mike, my best friend Mike Facito, at his wedding. We danced and we talked a lot that night. And after that, we ended up going on a date. She asked me on a date, but when you interview her, she'll say that that's not true, I'm sure. And our first,
she won't say that she asked you to, like vice versa?
She asked for the number. She was the first one to call me about a week after the wedding ended, and we ended up meeting up at Bennigan's, which was a chain restaurant, kind of like an Applebee's. It's not, I think, in existence anymore. And that was kind of our first date. Had nachos and appetizers, and the rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah. So started with worms, and then led to a rekindling after a wedding, and then Bennigan's.
How many times would you say you've been in love?
I think one other time.
One other time
besides mom, which was before mom. I dated another girl probably for about 6 months. And then I met her at college, and ultimately things didn't work out. And I broke it up. She was not happy about it. And so one other person.
When was that compared to when you rekindled with mom? Because it's like you met mom like a couple months later. Like
no, it was
like, was it the heart or like
couple 3 years?
Oh really?
Yeah.
So you had time to freshen mom.
That was maybe a couple years out of high school was this other person, and then mom and I were like 5 years out of high school.
How old were you when you met mom?
3rd grade.
No, I mean the friend's wedding.
So we graduated 18, so 23.
Oh wow.
23, yeah.
Okay.
We got engaged, started dating in October. It was a relatively quick dating, and I knew that she was the one for me, and I proposed probably a few months after we started dating. Yeah.
2-part. We'll start with the bad first. What's the worst relationship advice you've ever received?
I don't think I've had any bad relationship advice. Nothing comes to mind.
So then what's the best relationship advice?
I'd say that 2 things. You need to have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
To get you through the good and the bad, and communication is key.
Okay.
You gotta talk, don't take your marbles and go home and get, pissed off and get irate and think that the other person should know what you're thinking. Sometimes it's best to just say it. Right. Sometimes you need to have some chill time until you can have those conversations, but don't suffer in silence. So communication is key.
Then follow up, what are for you personally with your marriage. What do you think are keys to a successful marriage? Because I don't know the percentage, but there's a lot of divorce is like the numbers are very high, especially in today's society. So for you, for being married for 30 years, what are keys for you? And
so I mentioned two already, which is communication, sense of humor. I would add a third, which is having some things in common interests, things that you could do together. But also you need to have some things that you don't necessarily have to do or like together.
Disconnect.
To have some individual time and hobbies or things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Your jam that you can get some me time in, that's important as well.
What are some things that make your relationship with mom so special?
You have a great father, but you have an even better mother.
Yeah.
And I think what I love about her is she's very kind-hearted. She's not mean-spirited. She's got a great personality. She's super intelligent. You'll find as we age, eventually, the body slows down, looks fade, but what's in here matters most. So I'd say the fact that she's kind-hearted.
Do you have any advice for me when it comes to relationships and ultimately down the road marriage?
Yeah, find somebody that you have common experiences with. At the end of the day, find somebody who's kind-hearted, who's not mean-spirited.
Yeah.
Find somebody who doesn't just talk about themselves, but can engage you and ask and be curious about you.
Okay.
Find somebody who's obviously mature, that has high EQ, emotional, quotient and intelligence, and that you have common interest in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, it sounds easy. It's just
we're trying. I'm trying,
but it's hard.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes time to see people's true colors, right? I would also say don't judge a book by its cover.
Okay.
Right? Really get to know people, engage with them. Sometimes, personalities are superficial or experiences are superficial, and it takes a while for you to figure that out.
That's not even with relationships, also friends too.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna find that in life, friends come and go. And I heard a great quote, your friendship is kind of like seasons. People will come in and out of your life. People that you knew that you thought were your best friends are only in your life for just months or a few years.
Yeah.
And then it's weird, you'll never talk to them again. And you don't quite figure out what happened there. You just kind of grow apart, and then the relationship stops. Occasionally the Christmas cards continue, but eventually that stops. But it was fine for the moment. It was great experiences. And as I was saying, next play, you move on, and you can only live your life forward. You can't live it backward. You can't change what happened today or yesterday. You can't change what happened yesterday.
Good point. Now we're going to talk fatherhood questions. First question I have: when did you know that you were ready for kids?
Probably growing up. Probably when I was in high school.
When you were younger, did you know you wanted to have 5 kids?
I knew that
a lot of kids.
Probably when I was in high school, that I wanted to get married and have a big family.
Okay. Wow. What were some of your hopes and dreams for me growing up?
Number 1, that you were healthy.
Yeah.
And number 2, that you were happy.
Yeah.
It's just,
simple.
It's just as simple as that. Health and happiness. That you meet somebody that you were, financially okay. You didn't have to be super rich, because that's just a number, but that you had to obviously get a job to be self-sustaining. You can win the lottery tomorrow, $1 million, and not have your health, and that wouldn't be a good thing. So, health followed by happiness is what I wanted.
You only get one body.
One body.
Yeah. That's cool. There's different forms. There's different people define rich as differently.
Yeah. So connections, experience, family. That's what my parents taught me growing up.
What do you enjoy most about being a father?
So now I just enjoy, seeing you guys be successful and learning and continue to grow. There's a saying that you're only as happy as your unhappiest child. You're only as happy as your unhappiest child. So when you guys were growing up, if there was, whether it be discovering that you had food allergies, we thought that was the end of the world. Oh, how is he gonna get by? Everything, ice cream, pizza, crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then your diagnosis a few years ago with ankylosing spondylitis, right?
Yeah.
End of the world. But what you figure out is you survive 100% of your worst days, So although you're only as happy as your unhappiest child, right? The fact that you've all learned adversity through that, and I'd say medically you're more in tune with your bodies and than the average person your age.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, some good things come out of that, right? So
yeah,
just seeing you grow, seeing you become adults, seeing you pick up a little bit of our tips along the way. And it's really cool when you're able to talk to some people that you don't know about these interactions. Somebody randomly that might have run into one of you at the bagel store or Publix, and they know you, and and you get to hear as a father them complimenting how well you or your siblings have behaved or are. Like, that's pretty cool. That's a validation that we did something right.
Do you see a lot of you in me? Really? In what ways?
The determination.
Okay.
The sense of humor. Like I like to say,
I like to think I'm funny.
I speak 3 languages. I speak English, Spanish, although not really well, and sarcasm. So I would say, sarcasm is, I see that as well. It's just a sense of humor, the ability to adapt, to leverage the sense of humor as a coping tool, right? And the fact that you laugh at dad jokes, and that, that's encouraging to me at least.
Oh yeah, no, I know that means a lot to you. Yeah. What do you want or wish most for your kids?
Continued health, because like we said, without that, your life gets pretty hard. Probably the most important decision that you'll make as an adult is who you want to marry. That you find somebody that you can live a long life with as a partner. And if you're fortunate enough, and if you want to have kids, that you're blessed with children. Like those would be, so health, find a good spouse, and children. Get a job that allows you the opportunity to either raise a family or travel and do the things that you want to. I think that's up there, right? But I wouldn't say get rich and get a well-paying job. You need to have insurance, health insurance, and salary to enjoy the things. But you're gonna get the most out of life with health, good spouse, and family.
What has been your favorite thing about me? Like outside from the other siblings, but what just me and you personally, like you've seen me grow up thick and thin.
Your determination. You're very determined. Yeah, when you get involved and you like to do certain things, you go all in, and you have the sense of drive to become successful at those things, whether it's be basketball or whether it's working out or whether it's video editing. Going to college after your first semester, when we had that infamous conversation about, well, is it for you, and what do you want to do with your life?
Waiting for me to come to you.
You had to come forward and say, college, as what I was going through was not for me, and so what do you love to do? And I love video editing. That's what you love to do, and very rare is the person that kind of knows exactly, and so then you just went to film school to specifically perfect that craft. You're excellent at what you do. You've got some jobs there lined up as well, and so I think that determination and drive is what I love.
I think I know the answer to this question already. If you could change one thing about me, what would you
Oh, really? Like, you think you know the answer to that?
I don't know. You can go like the humble, always like, I wouldn't change a single thing.
No, you're perfect, Tim.
Yeah,
no.
Bullshit.
Slow down.
Speeding.
Speeding. Like, come on.
Okay, I see. I was thinking
the left foot. No, it's the act of speeding. No, because that drives me crazy.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So what did you think the answer was gonna be?
I was gonna say, like, I wish you didn't have like your health condition or your food allergies or.
Well, that makes what we can't change that. So like, you can't.
I'm saying, but you can't
change how fast you drive.
Well, I think the question was change, not like constructive criticism, but that's
okay.
That's okay.
All right. No. So like, what would I change?
Yeah. Outside of me having a.
Would I take back your ankylosing spondylitis and your food allergies? Part of me says yes, part of me says no.
Yeah.
The natural father answer would be, obviously, like get rid of that, but it's what makes you, right? It has helped you to overcome adversity, and so you're either succeeding or you're learning. I wouldn't say you're succeeding or you're failing, you're learning. And so because you've had that adversity, it's made you more determined, and it's formed other parts of your personality that make you unique and make you who you are today. So would you want to kind of change that? I don't know. I would say no. As wrong as maybe that sounds, I would say no. I wouldn't change that aspect of it, no.
If you guys are watching to this point, let us know in the comments. I'll respond to you guys, and but we're gonna get into the fun part of this interview. We're gonna talk deep life. What was some things that you struggled in your 20s? Because that's where I'm at now.
Part of the struggle was just getting a job, doing the job, where you're doing it as good enough. It was a commute to New York City, so that was a little bit of a struggle there as well. And then ultimately, deciding to continue, the college. So it took me 6 years to get a 2-year degree. Took me another 3 years to get my bachelor's, and then Mom and I said before we started having kids, let's continue to both go for our master's. So then, it took another 3 years. So, basically going to college for 12 years through my 20s into my early 30s was a struggle, but I was determined to, get those degrees.
How old were you when you got married?
26.
Okay.
Then I wanted to have kids like right away.
Right.
And Mom's like, nope, so she wanted to wait a little bit. So the 30s were pretty much raising young kids. I wouldn't say that was a struggle, it's just different. There's no playbook on how to become a parent, and this goes to this, because when you're dealing with a sick baby at 2 o'clock in the morning, there's nobody there except for Mom to kind of figure out why the baby's crying and how to make it work. And
what advice would you give to your younger self, your 20-year-old self?
The importance of communication. Be careful what you say, how you say it, when you say it, and who you say it to. Right? Because your reputation is formed at every interaction with every person that you meet in life, now until the day you die. Every day is a job interview.
Yeah.
When you meet everybody, every day that you come across, your reputation is being formed based on those interactions. So,
not meaning you have to show up every day in a suit and tie.
No, but you have to be kind, you have to be considerate, you have to be fair, you have to be positive. Don't be demeaning.
Yeah.
Don't be a jerk. Assume positive intent.
Your words and what you say reveal your heart.
Yeah.
And words can slice.
Words matter.
And words matter. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I'd say be kind, and be cognizant of how you say what you say to people.
Like when you were 20, did you feel like, I don't know, I guess put pressure on yourself? Like I have to have life figured out. I have
every
to,
day. Yeah. I was so confused when I was 20.
Yeah.
I thought it was never good enough.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't have it figured out. You kind of live your life left to right, and you eventually figure it out. And the other thing you figure out is that you do survive 100% of your worst days.
What is one piece of advice that you wish that I understood that would get through to me?
People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel.
Yep.
I think you generally treat everybody, with respect, and I don't think that's something that you need to begin to do, but continuing to be like that would be, I think, you can't go wrong with that piece of advice, right? And the other thing is, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Oh, can you say that again?
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So you could flap your gums all day long, it's about all kinds of stuff, but wisdom, math, accounting, advice, but like they need to know that you care.
And you're invested.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then everything else.
Did you ever have problems like early on with Mom, or just early relationships with people that like, this is a whole nother person that I kind of have to like tailor to, and I have to, even though we have similar interests, like we get away like, oh, what's your favorite color? You get all that out of the way, but then it's like, okay, the words that you say are heightened even more, and the actions that you do are much more powerful than anything that you say. So like, any advice, or like, did you struggle with that at all? Because
sometimes, whether it's raising kids or taking care of the house or whatever other obligations you have, there are comparisons that you make with your spouse, like who's doing more, like I'm doing more, and like, or you're not doing enough. And so you're constantly reminded of that. I'd say like you got to be cognizant of that, I should say. Yeah. To make sure it's not one-sided, when it comes to responsibilities with your family. So I'd say that's, it's not me, and I'm going to go up and do that, but just you got to come back, and it's more than just you, Dan.
About being patient when you're young. Any advice, or how important is that? Like when your mind is racing, running on the treadmill, and you're overthinking, and like you think ahead in the future and you want things to have like, I think I have a problem with that. Is like,
yeah, I mean, like I said,
like I have patience for a lot of things. It's just like, why is it not coming together?
Yeah, well, having kids will teach you patience.
A relationship too.
Having a relationship will teach you patience.
Yeah.
Sometimes you learn what to do, but sometimes you also learn what not to do. Like I said, you survive 100% of your worst days. And the other thing is, as tough as what you might have go on in front of you, at the end of the day, you will figure it out.
Yeah.
And you just, sometimes it just takes time. And just you have to be self-aware that it just is going to take a little bit more time. And just sometimes even saying those things to yourself out loud, right? Saying any words to convince yourself over and over again out loud, that'll help.
Right.
And that also sometimes can lead to bad things because it leads to more pressure that you put on. Like, not everybody lives that life that you see on social media. It's not that same. We all have issues. And that's one of the other things you realize. Everybody's got issues. Yeah. Everybody has issues. Even the ones that appear to be happy and go lucky and a million friends and, great jobs, and, they might have other issues that are deep rooted that they never disclose to anybody. So yeah, you do realize that pretty quickly, that everybody's got issues. And so just know that.
What's your favorite thing about getting older?
You let things go a little bit more. Like, it just really doesn't matter. When you look at issues and whatever's going on, you just like, doesn't matter. So like the movie Frozen, like, just let it go. You just realize that you're not majoring on the minors anymore. The stuff that just used to bother you growing up, like, just doesn't matter.
In the grand scheme.
In the grand scheme of things, it really just doesn't matter. So just to be able to just like let things go, you find that with age comes that wisdom to say it really just doesn't matter. And next play, and life goes on. I look good for 39. Right?
Oh no, you didn't. 30 with 39.
39. What do you say? Is the hearing content?
How would you like to be remembered?
Deep, huh?
Yeah.
I'd like to be remembered as somebody who was kind, who treated others with respect, and ultimately somebody who made a difference.
No, I think you did that. You are a great father. Probably one hell of a son too, but you're a hell of a father. Do you have any questions? You said that you got any questions for me?
Yeah, so let me grab my phone. No, I'm good.
Advice to them before I kind of end this?
So yeah, so Tim Hofacker, like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications.
How do you think mom's gonna do?
She's gonna knock it out of the park, yeah.
Yeah?
She's gonna do great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ready for her to watch this?
Yeah, but don't show it. You're gonna do it.
Oh, I'm gonna cut it out. I'm gonna make you sound real good and
keep the jokes in.
Oh no, yeah, because that's the only thing you have going for yourself.
I made that up. That didn't really exist.
Are you serious?
Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. Dad, thank you. Thank you for your words and your wisdom. I really look up to you as father that I hope to be, and to your marriage, for being strong for 30 years is hard, and raising 5 kids is hard, and working in New York and being with the same company, and there's a lot of character traits that I look up to you for. Being loyal, being patient with 5 kids is something you can't teach, and it's only become stronger and better over time. So thank you for today and your words. And
yeah, you're welcome, and love you.
I love you too. So if you guys are watching to this point, thank you guys so much. And again, if you guys are new, be sure to subscribe. We are a little under 6K subscribers, and before the end of the year, we are very capable. We are going to hit 10K subscribers. So up the ante. Clips that I post, if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, a couple videos in between, but we're gonna get my mom on too. So I'm excited for that. But a father-son duo is one of the strongest connections that you could have in life. So while we're still, I'm 20 and you're still aging like fine wine, to have this conversation. So thank you guys for watching. Post notifications, turn them on. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong.